Talking some Lakers on a Tuesday morning. They officially introduced their new head coach, Darvin Ham, yesterday at a presser. Among the many questions asked of Ham on day one of the job, what is the plan for Russ? Here's what the Lakers' new head coach had to say.
Don't get it messed up. Russ is one of the best players our league has ever seen. And there's still a ton left in that tank. I don't know why people tend to try to write him off. Russ and I have had some really, really great one-on-one convos, man. And the biggest word I think came out of those discussions were sacrifice. That was the biggest word. It was sacrifice. We're going to sacrifice whatever we got to do. And it's not just Russ. There's going to be sacrifices that LeBron has to make, the AD has to make, on down the line through the rest of our roster. Again, we have to start on the defensive end. And in terms of what his role is going to be, I'm going to expect him to be the same tenacious, high-energy player that he's been on his entire career. A lot of it now may happen without the ball in his hand. Most of it now may happen on the defensive end.
No ball in your hand and go play defense. Broussard, while I can only imagine Russ's reaction to that, I'd love your reaction to Ham's comments first.
Well, first of all, he's saying what he has to say and what he should say. Because right now, Russell Westbrook is on the roster. And whether or not this is I know obviously what Darvin was saying, he was sincere. But whether or not the leaks, whether or not whatever the front office is thinking, whether or not that's all a smokescreen to increase Russ's value or just let other teams know, look, we're not going to be fleeced in a deal for Russell Westbrook. We're willing to keep him if we have to. Whether that's the case or they really are all in, Darvin Ham said what he had to say because Russell Westbrook may, in fact, be on this team. And I got to be honest, it's looking to me like they intend to keep him, at least for the start of the season. Now, I'm not 100% out on Russ being a fit, but I'm 90% out. I'm 90% out. I don't think with Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, LeBron James on the floor together, in today's NBA, your spacing is going to be challenged, to say the least. That's not enough shooting on the floor. Obviously, you got to add some great shooters to be on the floor with those three. And then guarding defensively, I think they'd be challenged. And so those are obstacles Darvin has to overcome with Westbrook on the team. Look, in regards to Russ, I think he said, Nick, a lot of the right things. He talked about, look, we need him to sacrifice, which is true. He's going to be off the ball. Okay, that's interesting. And most of his impact, most of the energy, hustle he displays will be on the defensive end. That's interesting as well. And when he talked about defense, Nick, when he talked about defense, he talked about Russ being an elite defender and all that. Here's Russ, as you know, Russ has never been an elite defender. And to think that at 33 years of age and his 14th year, I believe it'll be, that he's going to all of a sudden become an elite defender, even if he wants to, I just don't think it's possible. So here's what I hope, Nick. If indeed they start training camp with Russ, they have got to be ready to pull the switch, cut the cord quickly. Like if it's not working after a month or so, they need to release him and not let this ruin LeBron's 20th year, not let this ruin Darvin Ham's first year. If it's not working out, they need to cut bait and just release him.
Drew, you said you're 90% convinced it won't work. What would it have taken last year for you to get 100% convinced? Russell Westbrook to start a small fire in the locker room? Russell Westbrook to literally fight members on the team? Like, what if you're not all the way convinced yet, then I don't know what could have all the way convinced you. And I hate
a bigger
saying
sample
this.
size.
And I feel, okay, well, I feel like, how about the sample size of his entire career? Because the problem for the Lakers and for Russ, no, it's not 21 games. It's 13 years. It's 13 years of lackadaisical defense. It's 13 years of bad three-point shooting. It's 13 years of only being effective in a very specific type of offense when he has the ball in his hands at all times. I guess we could say maybe not 13 years of that, but 7 years of that. his, the time post Kevin Durant, 6 years of that, however long that's been. Like, I am concerned because I did think it was all smoke screens. Wilds kept saying, they might keep him. I said, they cannot keep him. But it's not just Ham's comments, Wilds. It's that reportedly they're adding Rasheed Wallace to the staff. And I love Sheed. Yeah. But Sheed, there's a clip going around the internet of Sheed 1 year ago. It was right before the play-in last year, late May 2021, saying, hey, with respect to KD, LeBron, and Kyrie, I think Russ is the best player in the league. That guy's going to be on the coaching staff. Like, so that ain't great. Best player in the league. The Drew League, maybe, if certain guys don't show up. Like, wild.
Ouch.
I am, well, it depends. DeMar DeRozan shows up sometimes. You'd rather have Russ or DeMar DeRozan? No, forget, I'm not talking J. Cole. NBA guys go to the Drew League. And so I'm concerned. There's no fixing this. There's no fixing this, Wilds. There's no, hey, all we need Russ to do is become a totally different player. What?
Yeah, so, look, I thought the press conference had a little bit of sugar and a little bit of medicine. The sugar was directed directly at Russ. And Russ was there wearing a Nas T-shirt, and he's like, Russ is one of the best players of all time. Russ still has a lot in his tank. Russ, quote, I want him to get back to him guarding at a championship level, which I don't think we've ever seen Russ guard at a championship level because, I mean, frankly, he hasn't won a championship. So that's just kind of disqualifying in itself. And here's the other thing that he told Malika Broussard. I want him to go back to being a pit bull on the defensive end. It's really interesting, like, to go back to being a pit bull on the defensive end. Like, I don't think we've ever seen that. I don't know if we roll out, like, the pit bull defense that Russell Westbrook has played on YouTube. That comes up with 0 hits. Here's the other concerning thing. But I think it's smart because it's like, hey, this is in you. I need you to get back. I think it's smart. Here's the other concerning thing. The tenor of the entire press conference. It sounded like Mike D'Antoni was the former coach of the Lakers. Like, Frank Vogel's whole thing was defense. Playing hardcore defense is not a new concept, and Frank Vogel couldn't get it done. If we look at the graphic here, they were 3rd in total defense 2019-2020. 2021, they were 1st, and last year they were 21st. Well, what was the big difference? Besides Rob Pelinka jettisoning Alex Caruso, it's Russ showed up. So, look, I think it'll be fascinating if Russ just decides to do something underhand that he refused to do under Vogel. Are you optimistic that that can even happen, Broussard?
I wouldn't say optimistic. I know Darvin. I've known him since he was a player. Great dude, legitimately great guy, strong presence, not to be messed with, but a genuinely nice guy. And I think the players respect him. Clearly they do. And maybe will Russ listen to him? Will Russ give him a chance that he didn't give Vogel? Hopefully. But I'm with you. Look, Vogel's a good coach. I mean, Vogel was great in Indiana, and he won a championship with the Lakers. This notion that Frank Vogel doesn't know what he's doing is ridiculous. All right, and it didn't work. So I'm concerned that this could really, I mean, this is putting Darvin Ham in a tough situation. It really is, because it seems like management is, look, we're keeping Russ unless a great deal comes our way, and it's going to be a tough road to hoe for a rookie coach. That's my concern.
But it felt like that would have been a tough situation for any coach that came in to coach the Lakers with regards to us. Clearly a lot of questions still to be answered there. All right, let's switch gears, talk some football. So our friends at Fox Bet have the New England Patriots trailing the Buffalo Bills as favorites to win the AFC East. But wait till you hear who just might be calling plays in New England next season.